Good evening, I'm Isaiah Jacob with your sports update. Tonight at 7, the Blue Jackets continue preseason play against the Pittsburgh Pirates. You can hear that right here on the Fan. Coverage begins at 6:45. The Cincinnati Reds are in action tonight at 6:40, taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Reds dropped 1 to the Pirates last night, placing them 1 game back of the final wildcard spot in the NL. The Cleveland Guardians also in action at 6:40 as they host Detroit. After a win over the Tigers last night, the Gardos have taken the division lead in the AL Central. The win last night for the Guardians did come at a cost as DH David Fry sustained a broken nose and facial fractures after he was hit by a pitch. His timeline for recovery may prevent Fry from returning for a potential Guardians postseason run. This update was sponsored by Behind the O. Buckeye fans, Behind the O is now in the App Store, free for fans, NIL for athletes. Download the Behind the O app today. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bring it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Graham Rucker for the touchdown. Graham shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Wednesday. I am Brandon Beam hanging out with my guy Justin Zwick, Isaiah behind the glass tonight. JZ, happy Wednesday to you, my friend. What's happening? Good to talk to you.
Just a great week. Got some rain in the city here this week, so everybody's grass isn't ready to burn, and it's a good thing.
How old do you feel when you say, "Boy, we needed that rain"?
Really, really,
I know,
really
me
old.
too.
And even though we need it, I still hate looking outside and seeing it because I'm like, man, the course is going to be wet. It was car path only today.
Not on Friday when you guys beat us like a war drum.
No,
Austin Ward and I were talking about it last night, man. You guys got the best of us.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to most people that come out there and play that 2-man scramble with me and the guys.
Yeah,
we know what we're doing.
Absolutely, man. You guys beat us pretty good on that. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. It's a quickie for us. 45 minutes. We get the Jackets against the Penguins tonight over at Nationwide Arena. Another preseason game coming up for you. How's your week been? All right. Off weekend, which is pretty good. And now thrust into Big Ten play.
Yeah.
Coming up on Saturday at Washington. Big West Coast
first
road
road game for the young guys on the team. So a lot to be excited about this weekend because we just keep checking off these firsts for all these new starters, especially Julian being the first year starting quarterback. But, to go on the road, it's not an easy road trip either. You go all the way out about as far as you can get away.
It's not like you're going to Sparty or you're going to West Lafayette.
Exactly.
You're taking this show all the way across the country.
You are, and you're going up against a team who's hot right now.
Absolutely, they are.
They've been putting up a ton of points. They got a nice home game winning streak going. I think back to 2022 maybe. They haven't lost a home game yet.
22-game home winning streak.
I thought it was somewhere around there. So yeah, I mean it's exciting starting off Big Ten play with a banger here this weekend, and I'm really excited to see these guys get out there. They're going out Thursday night, Thursday afternoon, get an extra day out there, and it's interesting to hear. This is just travel talk, but it's really cool to hear Ryan talk about that. We're always looking at ways to get better, and we've talked to the NFL, we've talked to other people, and we're going across country. What's the best way to do it? And they put so much thought into everything that they do.
How much of that is a real thing, though? I mean, honestly, right? I mean, I know that they keep things on Buckeye time, and they're going to keep everything as normal as they possibly can for a game environment, a Saturday game day. But when you're talking about leaving a day early compared to normally you're leaving on Friday afternoon, you get there Friday night, I'm sure you go through team meetings, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go through some walkthrough, whatever it is that they do. That day early, how big of a deal is that to an actual team in their preparation for this game?
We never did it back in my day, of course, because we weren't flying out, to one of those types
Bob
of games.
has told me many stories about flying into Penn State. Which,
the Penn State story, yes, that's a good one. That is a good one, no doubt. But when we were in college, I think the worst part is just coming home. Anytime we were out west, I guess we were there for a week because we were at the in Scottsdale at the bowl out there. But I mean, right after that game, you're flying home. I mean, it's 2:00 in the morning. It's all right, we're getting on the plane, and you're going to get back into Columbus at a certain time. So I think on the back end is where it hurts the most. It's kind of like going on vacation. The 13-hour drive is not that terrible going, but on the way back, it's that really kills you. So I think this is like that. And college kids, they bounce back well. I think it's just
better than me and you.
Well, 1,000%.
It'll take me a week to repair from that.
Exactly. So I think they'll be fine. They're going to wake up and it's going to be a 12 o'clock, basically a noon game like we're used to playing anyways.
Yeah.
On their time out there. So it's not sitting around a hotel all day and really letting the hours get to you, because it is a difference. But I think we're in a good position, and they've thought about it. I mean, they've thought through everything. So this must be the best way, or whatever information they gathered. This must be the best way to go about it.
We'll hear from Ryan Day coming up here in our next segment around 6:17, and at 6:30, we'll talk to our great friend Joshua Perry coming up. Talk all things college football. He's going to yell at me about South Carolina and Illinois, which is going to be a fantastic time. So stick around for that. Jay-Z, when you're preparing for a dual threat quarterback like what Washington possesses, how do you handle that? I know Ohio State's defense has been up to the task so far this season. They've been really incredible. Linebacker play has been awesome. On Saturday, what are you going to be looking for when you have a dual threat guy like Washington does?
Well, I think and I'm not going to put him in the same category, but, the kid from OU was kind of that way, right? We had to worry about him a little bit, making plays with his legs and kind of extending things. And, I think they did a really good job at that. This kid, DeMond, is a lot better. He's a much better athlete. He scares me a lot more.
He's a little bit better than Parker Navarro.
Yeah,
just a little bit more athletic.
And a little more athletic. He's able to do a lot, and he's having a great year. Just under 800 yards passing, a bunch of TDs. Passing and rushing, and the offense is scoring a ton of points. So, I think they haven't seen linebackers like what Ohio State's going to bring to the field here.
True.
And I think you spy somebody. I think we saw it, if you watched that Ravens game the other day.
Yeah.
They spied Lamar because they know what he can do.
8 sacks on Lamar?
Yeah. And they're going to make plays. Like those athletes they're great athletes, and they're going to make something happen. But if you're spying them and you're really keeping somebody who is athletically gifted like they are, it makes it harder on them to go make those big plays. So I think with Sonny and Arvell, we probably just say, all right, guys, one of you might be able to go after him, but the other one's going to sit back and kind of watch him and feel things out and, kind of be our last line of defense. Or, you're using Caleb Downs all over the place, and it's like he can be at the line of scrimmage, drop into cover. He can do so much, and he's such a diverse player that I think, that might be another option for Matt Patricia to say, we're going to go ahead and just let Caleb do his thing. We feel good about our secondary, about, the safeties we have back there. Let's just let Caleb roam a little bit and see if he can keep this guy under wraps.
I am excited to watch Matt Patricia's defense with 2 weeks to kind of game plan against Damon Williams of this offense for Washington that has been fantastic. Like, if you haven't watched them, they are explosive, right? Their defense, I think, can get got a little bit, but their offense is really, really explosive, and they can do a lot of different things and a lot of different looks. To your point, though, I think the strength in the defense comes with those athletes for Ohio State, whether that's Arvell, whether that's Sonny, whether that's Caleb Downs, or somebody else. Spying Damon Williams, I think, is going to be a huge key for Ohio State.
And not even
Saturday.
spying. You also you get to your defensive line and, making sure they're staying in their lanes. And, and maybe, he's not the biggest guy in the world. So maybe if we just create that wall in front of him, then he's going to have he's going to have to, bounce out so he can see things. So there's multiple ways that you can go after it, but I think they'll have someone sitting back there just in case, and we'll get some pressure on them. And I don't think they're I don't think their O-line has seen anything like what we're going to show them.
I agree.
They've won 3 games, awesome to do. They've won them big, but they really haven't played anybody, and this is going to be, I think, a little rude awakening for them. Seeing our defense come to town.
How much of an advantage is it for them playing at home in this game, though? Because I feel like if they're traveling cross country right here to Ohio Stadium, and let's just say the game's at the same time, right? 12:30 or 3:30 for us,
them,
it'd be 12:30 for them. Same kind of thing that we're working with here. How big of an advantage is it for them? Again, a team that's won 22 consecutive home games. It's a massive home field advantage. They don't have to leave. They don't have to prepare for travel. Like, we've been making a huge deal about Ohio State leaving on Thursday compared to Friday, right? We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. Just how big is that home field advantage, though, when you're talking about a team that is hot like they are right now?
Well, I've never been there for a game, but everybody that I've talked to that has been,
just pretend like you have.
And everything I've heard is it's amazing out there. Their crowd's going to be jacked having us come into town and they probably feel a little bit disrespected. No AP votes to be in the top 25,
which is crazy. They should have at least got a couple.
And I honestly think when I saw that, I'm like, it's because they play us this week. They don't want us to have another top 25 win, so they're going to leave those guys out. Those poor guys don't get in the top 25 for a week, even though they deserve to be. because we're coming to town, and they don't want us to get that. But, back to having the home field advantage, it's huge no matter what. But you got a 22-game home field, win streak going on.
It's second longest in the country,
You got the number one team in the country coming to town. Like, they're going to be jacked up, ready to go. Now, how do you take care of that? You go out there and you get a stop, 3 and out, or you go right down the field and you score on them. And then all of a sudden...
Which sounds pretty easy to do.
Well, I mean, the way we've moved the ball, if we get the ball, with the exception of OU, we just didn't get in the end zone, but we went right down the field and had a ton of yards. And that's one way to shut up a crowd real quick, is just like, they're excited. Hey, great. And it's like, oh no. This kid Hill's just coming out and dropping dots to his receivers.
Down the field in 3 minutes.
And they just went and scored, and that's what this game is going to go like. They hit the beer lines quick and start sitting on their hands after that.
Yeah, good place in Seattle to get a couple of beers. Is what I've heard. I've never been out there before, other than to play golf. For one day, I went to play Chambers Bay. It was the hardest walk I've ever made in my life. You walk up a mountain, then down the mountain, then back up the mountain, and then back down.
And you shoot 105 on the way there.
I think I did. Maybe more. How's Ryan Day preparing Julian Sand for his first road trip of his career? You're going to hear from him coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Proper tree care is an investment that can lead to substantial returns and increased personal enjoyment. Hiring a certified arborist can help care for your trees and prevent storm damage. Inspections by Ohio ISA certified arborists can often find and mitigate tree defects before they fail. Only professionals with specialized knowledge and training are properly equipped to provide appropriate care. To find an arborist, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Got a teen athlete? Then you know putting in the hours is all part of the game. But did you know the same goes for learning how to drive? Because just like playing a sport, learning to drive takes practice. The only difference is the stakes are even higher. 50 hours of practice time driving with you? Worth every minute. Gear up at teachyourteentodrive.ohio.gov.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive or electrified hybrid choices than anyone else, like the family-size Highlander and the bigger, more powerful Grand Highlander. Now through September 30th, get a new 25 Highlander or Grand Highlander with 4.75 APR financing. Or you can get 5.75 APR financing on hybrid models with approved credit through TFS. Plus, you get 2 years no-cost maintenance. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
The Donato's Pep Duo Pizza is back, and it brought a pal. The Donato's Pep Duo, loaded with crispy pepperoni and 3 kinds of cheese. Now get a large Pep Duo pizza for just $14.99. Also back, Donato's deliciously dippable pepperoni cheese bread. Now on the $5 Pizza Pals menu for a limited time. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's, gotta love more.
Hey Buckeyes, I'm John Chabot with Surest, a digital-first health plan designed to make healthcare simple and affordable right here in Ohio. At Surest, we believe healthy small businesses are vital to our economy. That's why we're ready to give your small business a VIP opportunity through our small business sweepstakes. Winners will be recognized on the sideline at an Ohio State home football game. To enter, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Surest. That's SUREST. Surest, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium into the press box and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Cloudy skies, a couple of showers, and maybe a rumble of thunder on this Wednesday. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Overnight staying mild and damp down to the mid-60s with a couple of showers by morning. During the day on Thursday, mainly morning showers. Otherwise, partly sunny skies and the risk of a late-day shower as well. High temperatures in the mid-70s again. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
The best damn radio show in the land. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hey, we'll let you know that summer's winding down. Actually, it's officially over. We are into fall now. There's still time to drop 20 pounds with Awaken 180's 20-pound slim down. That's how I started, 20 gone fast, and it propelled me straight to my goal. Still going to eat, drink, enjoy summer, now fall, but the scale's finally moving. They're going to hit fall. And then you can wear cardigans or whatever you want when the weather gets cooler. With energy, confidence, clothes that fit again. Awaken 180's coaches, they keep you on track so the weight stays off. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. Start your first 20 now and finish fall or summer on a win streak. Thanks to everybody for watching the show on YouTube. Go like and subscribe. Got some golf discourse here, Jay-Z. So I know it was 2020. I went out to, it was Ohio State was supposed to play Oregon on the road. And that game would not have been played anyways because of the smoke and the wildfires that were in the area. But Jeff Rimmer's middle half asked me, he goes, was that Bandon Dunes that you were going to? It was part of the Bandon trip. I did play Bandon Dunes, which was fantastic. But
you have good weather?
Well, it was smoky.
Well, fair, but it wasn't raining on it because I've heard when you go there, like it could just...
Oh, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening. But it was that trip. We went to play Bandon. We played Eugene Country Club, which was fantastic, out in Eugene. So if Ohio State ever plays Oregon on the road again, which they will coming up here in a few years, go do that. It's great. Great pro shop. Awesome merchandise. And then we made the trek up to Seattle to go play Chambers Bay. And then we came back down to Bandon, which was a whole lot of driving.
Yeah, sounds
for
like
a whole little amount of golf.
That's good for you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it wasn't me.
Yeah, I know that you want to you want to do the Bandon trip.
Oh, I would do it. Yeah, 1,000%. I've heard really good things about it, but I also have heard that it's just like you just don't know what you're gonna get. And I'll play golf in the rain. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather not.
Yeah.
You know?
Luckily for us, like we didn't have any rain, but again, it was so smoky because of the wildfires. So we were playing Chambers Bay, which is I think right on the Puget Sound, which was great, but we couldn't even see the water. Yeah. Like we were 40 yards away from the water.
It was right there. And
had no clue that it was there.
That's got to be a little eerie.
Yeah, I would like to take a trip out to Washington though. I mean, new Big Ten team. It would be a fun road trip destination. I feel like
if you got those frequent, they call it or whatever it is. Yeah, it looks awesome.
Got those frequent flyer miles. Go out there, go see a game. I think the sailgating sold out in minutes.
Oh, they sell that. They sell the water out.
Yeah, I think they do. Right? That's private land, right? The water.
Yeah, and you can't park here.
Can you think of a more cool experience though than sailgating on a boat?
I mean, that sounds awesome until you fall in the water and you got to go to the game.
Which would happen to me.
That would happen to a lot of people.
I think it would.
I'm sure.
I think it would. So if you're going out there this weekend, have a great time. Be safe. Don't fall in the water. If you do, let Jay-Z and I know.
Send us pictures.
Yeah, how it's going for you. Let's hear from Ryan Day, shall we? This is his press conference this week. What about preparing a first-year quarterback in Julian Sand for his first road environment?
Just making no assumptions when you're on the road, all the little things. and recognizing that, it's going to be a challenging environment. It's just almost like going back to the beginning, going back to basics, because anytime you go on the road, just everything's a little bit more difficult. The communication's more difficult, all of those things. So it's not anything new, but at the same time, we have to, amidst the environment and the noise and the chaos, have poise and composure. And, we can't let the environment dictate how we play.
I know it's a big deal, and we've been talking about it all week. Austin and I were talking about it last night, and I'm confident that we'll talk about it coming up here tomorrow. But when you take your offense, Jay-Z, from a home environment, right? Texas was incredible. Like, we know the environment was loud. It was crazy. Going to be one of the best teams that you face, especially that defense. Yep. And Ryan Day said it after the game. Like, we probably could have given him a little bit more. And I think we've seen that in the subsequent games, 2 and 3 against Grambling and OU. When you take this offense on the road to a place where a team has won 22 straight home games, a place that is loud, it's not the biggest capacity you're going to see. Same thing as Oregon, as we saw last year. Freshman quarterback, redshirt freshman, first-year starter. How big of a deal is that to be able to control your emotions and control everything that you're doing and make sure that everything goes according to plan?
Well, it's tough to control everything, right? But
that's what we expect, right?
Yeah, well, it is what we expect, and that's what we've kind of seen out of him in these first 3 games. Just kind of staying cool, staying calm, looking at the defense, giving them what they, taking what they give you. When you go on a road like this for the first time, and even at the end of the year, say it's the second time, you're going to a big game, you're going to the whiteout, like, it's a different ball game than what you're used to. At home, something I was thinking about over the weekend was they have speakers in their helmets. What is that like? Because when it was loud back in our day,
that's a lot of ear.
When it was loud back in our day, it was all hand signals. So like, it didn't matter how loud it was. I'm just watching the sideline and seeing everything. So it's like, how does that work? What is snap count going to be like? There are a lot of shotgun now. We didn't do a lot of shotgun back in my day. So it's like you were up under. You're there. They could hear you a little bit better. What do those games look like? Because how, a shotgun will go in 1 second, the center's head goes up, and then all of a sudden, defensive end's teeing off because they just get in that rhythm. So what are they doing in these last couple of weeks to maybe throw that off a little bit, to give them a little bit, give the defense a little bit different of a look every other snap, just so they're not teeing off on you? There's just a lot that goes into it. But, again, this isn't the best defense they're going to see all year.
Right.
They should be able to go out and, you may see a couple false starts. I think we saw that at Texas a little bit. There are a couple times offensive linemen, they like to get their jump, and that might happen.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But we may run into some of that. But really, it's just making sure that Julian has, the voice to get it to these guys. I remember in games,
which I think Ryan Day issued the challenge during camp.
I think so. And so that's something that they've been dealing with and talking about, all through camp and everything, I'm sure. But, it's like just little things of, all right, well, they can't hear me. All right, well, you got to go up and down the line. Get up, get set. We got to make sure we have enough time on the clock. You got to let each and every one of them, if you're making a change, guy by guy, let them know what's going on, and, and get in their ear. And, it's just little things like that of just staying within yourself, making sure there's plenty of time on the play clock, getting up to the line of scrimmage, getting the calls in, and just making sure everybody's on the same page before you take that snap. And with that noise, it is hard, but you just got to, work a little harder to make sure everybody's seeing it and, on the same page as the quarterback.
How are you communicating with your receivers, though? I mean, they're way out, split wide, right? I mean, JJ is going to be way out there. We know that. Brandon Ennis is going to be out there as well. Like, how are you? I know that you're talking about controlling the line of scrimmage and making sure that you're getting your calls to the offensive line, that they know that they're going to be okay. Yeah. But getting that same page on the communication level as the wide receivers, like how are you communicating with them when noise is a factor? Like that?
I mean, we used to use a lot of hand signals. Had a lot of hand signals. We would sit around and have meetings. Well, we'd sit around and have a lot of meetings with just the quarterbacks. Be like, all right, what do we want to make this signal? And it would just be some stupid things every now and then. But just kind of made it fun.
I got to go back and watch the tape.
Well, there's some stuff on there. You might see some. If Tress would have known what we were doing, he probably wouldn't have let us have some of them. But use a lot of hand signals, and these guys have gotten so good at looking at the sideline. And even though you have a headset to the quarterback, there's probably still somebody over on the sideline who might be giving a signal to the receivers or to a certain position group of, this is what it is, just in case you didn't hear the play very well. Like, this is what you have on this play. And, when Julian's up at the line of scrimmage, he sees something. it could be just a look, or it could be just I'm going to tug on my towel. It could be
whatever it is,
a little sign that maybe nobody's going to catch on to, but his receiver knows what he's talking about, and they're on the same page.
Absolutely. What about Ryan Day going on the road last year, comparing this game to what Oregon and what they learned from that one last year?
It wasn't really anything about the trip. I thought we were ready and we were playing fast. I don't think there was anything sports science-wise that says us leaving the day before had any effect in the game. But that being said, we did a lot of, because I think it's more about, are you focused? Are you locked in? Are you sluggish? You look at all these different metrics. Didn't see any of that. But that being said, we always want to get better. And, we've done a lot of studying on this. We've talked to a lot of people in the NFL. We've talked to different other, sports and how they travel multiple time zones. And we felt like this is the best way. We also really looked at how we played in the playoffs as an indicator on this. And so, like we said, we always learn. So we're always trying to get better.
I think it's a pretty well-traveled team, right? I think you look at last year and what they did.
Oh, golly, in the playoffs.
Playing at home and then going out to Pasadena and then going down to Dallas and then Atlanta. If there's one team in college football where I'm not too worried about the travel aspect, it's this team because they are well-traveled.
Yeah, and they are, but a lot of these guys weren't playing last year.
True.
So, it's a little bit different of a ball game because you don't have the seniors that have been around and been through a lot of this, type thing. So that's a little bit different, but, it's hard. You're going to go out. It's a long flight, all that good stuff that goes into it. They're a great crowd. I think Big Ten teams from the East Coast Central Time Zone are what, 3 and I don't know if this is correct, but it's 3 and 13.
Yeah.
3 and 13 going out west.
Wow.
So there's something to it, but what teams were they, and all that sort of thing. And we were one of those because we got beat by Oregon by a point.
Did they count the Rose Bowl?
I don't think they were counting. I think it was just regular season games, that sort of thing. So yes, but there's got to be something to it, but. Just listening to them, like they study everything and they just want to try and get better all the time. And, this is just going to be one of those things like, hey, we did this when we went to Washington. It worked really well. Guys seemed to be ready to go. They were juiced up and didn't seem sluggish. And, all that stuff Ryan just talked about. That's really the only way you can really tell, when you get into a game and you finally see your guys go after it.
Our great friend and former Buckeye, Joshua Perry, he's going to join us. We'll talk all things college football and some Buckeyes with him coming up here in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we helped Tom.
Hi, my name's Tom. I've been a patient at Tri-State Men's Health, and I'm being treated for low testosterone. I didn't really notice the issue of just the energy and feeling slow in the middle of the day and waking up feeling as if I hadn't even gone to bed. When I walked into Tri-State Men's Health, I was extremely impressed from the get-go with the results of the treatment. I wake up in the morning now with clarity. I have had more energy in working out. I definitely have increased my strength. I would say that if there are men out there who experienced some of the same problems that I did with inability to sleep well and waking up without feeling refreshed and having your energy flagging throughout the day, go see Tri-State Men's Health. It's changed my life and it'll change yours too.
Thanks, Tom. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Buckeye fans, this is for you. Level up with the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. You'll receive all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Ohio State sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State team shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If you still have a weird rash from jumping in Mirror Lake, we can be friends. This is the Buckeye Show.
Got about 10 minutes to go here. Get you out the Nationwide Arena. Jackets against the Penguins. The preseason coming up here in just about 15 minutes or so. Right now, we head out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Check with our great friend. He is Joshua Perry. JP, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. Now is the portion of the program where you can yell at me about South Carolina and maybe Illinois. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm going to yell at you for two things, actually.
And they weren't those.
Sounded like a passive aggressive reminder that we've got a hard out. Hey, about 10 minutes coming up.
Yeah, I did text you earlier, and you said, you know what? I'm just going to run straight through the stop sign.
Yeah, do it. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to bulldoze it. Big filibuster. But there's no really yelling about the South Carolina thing. It's just they kind of are who they are. It's Lenore Sellers and just like a whole bunch of other guys that you can't rely on a week-to-week basis. I'll be curious to see how they finish out here because I do think the QB is special. But, like, outside of that, it's a lot of meh.
It is. I agree with you. I don't know what Brandon has.
I've got nothing to say. I did a full 15 minutes last night to start the show and said I was wrong.
Yeah,
Listen, sometimes you shoot blanks in the wind and they come right back in your face. So that's exactly what happened to me. What about Illinois? They got hammered this weekend by. Is Indiana real, JP?
Yeah, I think yes. And like Illinois, I'm pretty shocked too. I was pretty wrong about them. Their offensive line, as it turns out, isn't as good as what we anticipated with all the returning starters. Luke Altmaier is good, but like he can get flustered. He's not a guy who creates on his own. And their defense was just like they were getting picked apart. And the thing about Indiana's offense is like they're not a super big drop back pass, scheme it up downfield. They are very much an RPO system, and then they'll mix in some of the drop back games. So they're working off of leverage a ton, and Illinois just couldn't figure out how they wanted to defend that. They had no answers for it. They a better team than they were a year ago, which is an insane thing to say considering how good they were last year. Fernando Mendoza is real. So you got to be able to put up with that. I think they got a couple playmakers at the wide receiver position. Omar Cooper Jr. is one of my favorite guys to watch. D'Angelo Pons at corner, really good. Aiden Fisher, linebacker, really good. Like they've got some impact players here. So their schedule heats up. They've got Oregon, and I believe they have Penn State. So they might have a worse record than a year ago and still be a better football team, which is the insane part about it. But the way they took it to Illinois, man, I did not expect that outcome.
Was this just another great portal class out there in Indiana, or were these guys in the system when he brought them in last year? I just don't know much about them right now.
So it's a combination, right? Okay. Like they went out and portaled in places where they needed to. Roman Hemby was a running back they got out of the portal. Mentioned the quarterback, obviously. He played at Cal last year and was really good, but not a lot of people were watching them at 11 p.m. Eastern. They had to fill in some gaps on defense, in particular their defensive line. It was really good last year, and they were worried about some depth there. But these are a lot of the same players that they had. I mentioned the couple of standouts they had on defense. They've got another one named Mikael Kamara, who was one of the top defensive linemen in the Big Ten nationally a year ago. Those were all guys who were there, came over from JMU, many of them. So he's kind of working off of this, like, I brought my guys with me. I'm going to roll with them. I'm going to recruit some guys out of high school and just fill in the gaps in the portal. And it's certainly worked over the last season and a half so far.
He is Joshua Perry with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. JP, for the folks out there who have maybe not watched any Husky football this year, what can you anticipate as the Buckeyes make their first road trip of the year heading out to Seattle? Because their offense is as explosive as it gets right now in college football.
Yeah, I mean, Damon Williams is a great player, right? Like a mobile guy. He can get you with his legs. He's also got a live arm. He's going to be something that they're going to have to focus on. But what makes that difficult is Jonah Coleman, the running back, is top 10 in college football. He's one of the best running backs in the game right now. And then Boston, the wide receiver, is also a really good player. He's a bigger frame guy, too, so he can climb the ladder a little bit. They can hit you with weapons across the board. I think defensively for Washington, they're still trying to come along. They had the defensive coordinator change where Steve Belichick went to UNC with his daddy, and then they bring in Ryan Walters, who was fired. from Purdue. So, there's some growing pains when it comes with that. And I think Ohio State's got to manage possessions when they're on offense. But the hard part about that, Julian saying is going to be his first road start. You're going to Washington, which is a very underrated environment. He's going to have to handle all of those things, the long trip cross country. So this is a little bit of a spooky game here. Certainly Ohio State's got the advantage when you check off the boxes, but when you start to add in just a couple little sprinkles about how you got to get to Washington and what the environment's like when you get there with a young quarterback, like this one is one where you have to make sure that you manage the game properly.
Upset alert? I mean, I think the number opened at 13.5. It's down to 7.5 or 8.5, depending where you look. I know that a lot of maybe the sharps are on Washington for this game, JP.
Yeah, I'm not putting them on upset alert,
okay.
But I do think this is a game where you kind of figure out what Ohio State is in terms of a mentality standpoint, right? Like you had the Texas game, and I think that's where you figured out, like, okay, what about the coaching staff changes? What about the new faces, right? Like, just do we have the guys? And you check that box. And now it's about road game, different environment, long trip. Do you have the maturity? Do you have what it takes to go in there and operate from the standpoint of knowing that you're the top dog? So I don't expect it to be easy, but I do expect them to win pretty comfortably in the end.
JP, how would you go at this quarterback? I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier today. I mean, we have the linebackers and, the defensive line that can maybe hold him up a little bit. How do you defend him? What do you do to just make sure he doesn't take over the game, as far as on, their offensive side of the ball?
Well, I think if they get into a situation where they're doing some read option, I'm going to declare that. And whatever that declaration is, I'm going to give him the read to where I know what the offense is supposed to do. Right. So like whether they want the running back to have it again, he's a really good player, Jonah Coleman, or whether they want the quarterback to have it, they have to figure that out. In situations where it's a drop back, I am putting Arvell Reese on that man, and I'm saying go hunt. And I'm saying 1, 2, and then you go and you make him declare. The thing about these mobile quarterbacks is you make them make decisions. They like to play in that gray area. They love the indecision of the game because that's where their athleticism can take over. For me, it's about making them make decisions every single down, and that's how you take the edge off of a guy who can hurt you with his legs.
If you had any words of advice for Oregon traveling out to Happy Valley for full whiteout conditions this weekend, what would it be, JP?
I said, pack your big boy pants and pack your silent count, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what it is, I played there twice, and it was the best environment you can get into. Yeah. It's difficult. And Dante Moore, good player, right? Like, he sat last year. Last time he played was his freshman year. He never played in a place like Penn State. So we'll learn about them. I think Oregon's a better team, if I'm being frank. Penn State has not been impressive to me, but that environment can put you in some real bad situations if you let it.
Absolutely, it will. I've been there too. I wasn't on the field like you guys were, but it sounds crazy. I saw the air shaking when I was down on the field. Like it sounds like a crazy thing to actually say out loud, JP, but it gets so loud and disorienting there where the air is like making waves, which is wild.
The one underrated thing, people talk about the offense being on the field and they can't communicate because it's so loud. That's when the defense is on the sideline making adjustments. And so, when we're on the field, we can communicate. When we would come off to the sideline, it would be difficult for us to sit there and make defensive adjustments. And, that's the underrated thing about that environment is it gets you on both sides. It's just, one's on the field when it's happening. The other one's trying to figure out what was going on the field when it's loud like that.
Hey, before we get you out of here, got about 2 minutes to go. So you can filibuster as much as you want here. Who wins this weekend? And it seems like a pretty big game between USC and Illinois. Monster bounce back week if Brett and the guys are going to do it. And USC's been looking pretty good so far this season.
Man, this is one of those tough ones, right? Like USC, what I've seen on offense, I think that they can put up points on almost anybody. Jaden Mayava's been phenomenal, and he operates really well with Lincoln Riley. So I would give them the edge there. The question is, do we think USC's defense is that much better? And then do you think this is the week that Illinois can figure out how to have some balance with their offense? They ran the ball for 2 yards against Indiana. It's unacceptable. So to answer your question, it feels like USC is trying to be that team that maybe knocks on the door, is the fourth team in the Big Ten that gets into the college football playoff. A lot on the line there, and I frankly have liked the way that they've played a little bit more than Illinois after watching them last week.
JP, always appreciate the time. You had about a minute left, so I don't think you bulldozed the segment too bad. Have a fantastic.
I tried not to. I just wanted to get into your head beforehand, just to make you host a little bit on edge.
Yeah, you always get into my head. Always appreciate it.
He's shaking over here.
Yeah, I really am. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Looking forward to the coverage of the whiteout on Saturday. We'll check in again next week, all right?
All right, guys. Thank you.
There he goes. Our guy, Joshua Perry, with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. 40 seconds to go. Jay-Z had a question from Jeff. When is the mustache coming back?
You know, I was just thinking about that today. I got a couple things I get through event-wise in the next couple weeks, but it's going to come back.
I think you should bring it back.
You saw. You had to Venmo me. You saw that mustache.
Oh, is
on
that
the Venmo.
what the picture is?
Oh,
I thought it was someone else.
Yeah, it looks like Ted Lasso.
Yeah, you look good.
Well,
maybe you should go coach a European soccer
my
team.
My daughters love it. My wife absolutely hates it.
Jay-Z, had a great time tonight.
Yes, sir.
I'll talk to you on Saturday postgame, hopefully recapping a big Buckeye win against Washington. Everybody have a great night. I'm with Austin tomorrow. Jackets up next on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day.